A quote I'd like to begin with. To raise productivity and wealth, raise connectivity. To me, that's a really simple concept. When people are connected, they have the opportunity to be productive and change their situation. This is a quote from the founder of a company called Grameen Phone. And for those of you who raise your hands to say, I'm aware of Grameen Phone, you know the changes that it's had around the world, and initially in a small country called Bangladesh, for initially women, which I think is exciting. So the power of women, coupled with the power of a simple device called the mobile phone, allowed women in villages that were primarily rural to change the course of their life and to actually change the fabric of their own village itself. Grameen Phone came in and said, I'm going to give 10 different women each a phone. And what is that woman going to do? She's going to offer a new business to the village. She's going to tell every businessman and businesswoman, hey, if you want to make a deal with the cow owner across the street who has grain on the other side of town, here, make a phone call. Don't walk there, and it'll take you 2 days. And so she lent them her phone, sold them their minutes, and she took a little profit. So what did she become? She became a founder. How exciting is that? In a village, a founder of what I say, a founder of change. And that founder of change allowed her to, with the simple use of the mobile phone, to really gain respect in the community. The businessmen and businesswomen, mostly the businessmen, started talking to her to get access to their seller or their buyer. And suddenly she said, and there's quotes from places in Bangladesh where the women said, now, the men actually look at me in the eye when they're talking. I actually now have the opportunity to own my own cow because I made enough profits selling mobile minutes. So that's interesting because that's on the other side of the world where technology, simple use of a mobile phone, the idea of selling minutes, has changed sort of the future, and the women were the founders of change. So this phone brought what really did happen over time is the phones no longer had to be just with one woman. The businesses in the villages, across villages and so forth, were so, profitable that everyone now owns a phone in Bangladesh. It's like 70+% coverage, which initially didn't even exist. So clearly to me, and obviously to many people in a business sense, the mobile space is huge for opportunity. When you think about the web and you think about the PC world and everything on that side is there. You can see the numbers. But really, there's 3+ billion people who have access to a mobile phone. You, as businesswomen, should consider that as a business opportunity, right? And that's what brought me to the Valley 5 years ago. And so when I landed, I started to see all these companies. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. But they're all about the web. They're all about, something other than mobile phones. Why is that? Well, that's okay. So then I started hanging out in the startup environment and also saw these kinds of companies, which were also great and innovative and exciting, but not so much in terms of changing things. They were providing great games or great ways to get around faster or better shoes. It's great because it was using the internet and technology and it was innovative, but it wasn't necessarily thinking beyond us in the room. These products and services service you today. But that's incremental improvement in your life. Play a better game, drive a little faster, get another pair of shoes. So what? So what's interesting is behind these companies, the faces of those companies didn't look anything like what we saw in Bangladesh. They looked like this. And I was like, what? That's weird. I'm in Silicon Valley. And the truth was, in Silicon Valley, there's less than 10% of females are founders. Less than 10% of those get venture capital funding. Again, completely strange because in the developing world, this is happening right now, 90+% of microloans go to women. They're the founders of change. And 95% repayment loans. So wait, why aren't we getting funded? So, it's kind of interesting, a big disconnect for me. What's going on here? We're in the most innovative city, country side of the world ever, and this is what's happening. So I dug a little harder. And over the years, yeah, okay, I uncovered a few more companies. And, great, they were founded by women. And then, yeah, okay, we started an organization called Women 2.0, and we started to, give the seeds and the opportunity to some more companies that you may not have even heard of these yet, but they're getting started. And what's good is they look like this. And some of these girls are in the room today. But it's not enough. 51% of the workforce is female. And that also means, obviously, 51% of females are consumers. So there's something going on here. And I think the challenge to you is to realize women can be the founders of change in their industries. And let's not think about just innovating for us, about getting shoes closer and faster to us through Zappos, about driving a faster, better car that kind of saves the environment, but really in the whole it doesn't. Right? What can we do for that 3 billion market? Starts really, really young. So if we already know that less than 10% of female founders in tech in the Western world are starting companies, it starts so early. Right now, that's I call that the innovation bench, right? The future leaders in the West. It's just a bunch of guys going to engineering school. And the other side of the bench is super, super empty. The number of women going into engineering school is going down. So for those of you in the room who can start a company, consider something. Consider supporting younger women to get into engineering, but also consider what company you want to start. Can you tackle a bigger market? Can you think about the mobile market a little bit differently? Are you ready to think about the fact that if you do something in the mobile market, you can actually reach 3 billion plus people and growing? I mean, why not? There's people doing it in Bangladesh right now. What are they doing? Yeah, today they're doing a textile company, or they're helping in agriculture through the Grameen phone model, for example. But you know what? The cost of technology is going all the way down. What the web was a while ago is what the mobile industry is today, right? So you can deploy apps on the web interface quickly. You can build Facebook games quickly. This whole iPhone movement is giving you access to build apps, which is interesting. Not necessarily reaching the people around the world, but it's a place to start. And so if the access to the mobile market is opening up wider and wider, why don't we all in this room get ahead and think about the mobile market? Think about how maybe we can design new applications that run on very basic phones. Can we design ways to get connectivity in rural markets? What can we do? And these are all questions that I don't necessarily have answers for, but want you to all think about. And so with that, I guess the point of all this is to say, women are the founders of change in the other side of the world. Why aren't we the founders of change here in Silicon Valley?
Thank you so much. Very inspirational talk. Thank you. Next to our stage, we will welcome Heather Fleming, who is the CEO of Catapult Design.